Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? After Dragon Ball's hiatus post-GT, there was an extreme lack of original content, with Toriyama basically in retirement, Toei making moves with their next big IP. The only remaining things that kept the franchise on life support were the fans and the games. As fans, we still had so many questions and wonders about Dragon Ball that we really wanted to know how it all turned out. From what Super Saiyan 5 to 100 would look like, how would Goku interact with Bardock if he ever saw him, but the list goes on. As someone who became a Dragon Ball fan in the late 2000s, I would imagine the community felt that they had to move on because there's nothing new. That's until Atari created Dragon Ball Z for the PS2, or what we would call Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Good guys, bad guys, and absolutely no diplomatic solution. Fight On. Available on PlayStation 2, rated T for teen.
Not only was the game fun and more intuitive than the previous titles, but the story was really well crafted for anyone that wanted to get into the franchise, even if it just goes from the Saiyan to the Cell Saga. And on top of that, the game had 3 extra alternate arcs, showcasing what would happen if Vegeta beat the Z Fighters, Frieza also beating the Z Fighters, and if Cell absorbed Krillin, which turns out to be Dream, so technically this could have happened while Cell was waiting for the Cell games to start. Nonetheless, this was quite simple. Take a concept that Marvel has been doing with their comics since 1977 and apply it to Dragon Ball. Big problem, the franchise can't sustain on whatever amounts of gaming what-ifs Atari and Bandai could come up with on a yearly basis. Luckily, fan artists and Newground animators were around. But what about those who can't draw, struggle to create one frame of animation, or insane enough to create an archive of my own account? Well, we kinda had to regress to the days of when we used to mash toys together, but instead of action figures, we went into any of the game's versus modes and select any of the characters and create any random scenario from it. All of a sudden, we can create those fights that we wanted to see. Gogeta vs Vegeta, Kid Gohan vs Kid Goku, Yamcha vs Omega Shenron. The list goes on, but now how do we share those ideas?
Hey, coming up next, are you a budding movie maker looking to strut your stuff? Well, we'll show you where to upload and share your videos for the world to see.
The site's called youtube.com, and that's YOU.
Hanging so powerful.
I think it's an easy way for you to categorize the content, as well as an easy way for other people who are interested in that type of content to search for that content. I know there's lots of sites out there that allow you to upload videos, but this one is the most user-friendly, and there's a nice community there.
With the power of YouTube, there are 2 ways to distribute these plots. Record your gameplay and commentate through the fight, or use the machinima method. If you don't know what machinima is, it's a term for using a real-time graphics engine to create a story. It all started with a 1996 short film called Diary of a Camper, became popular for Red vs. Blue, entered the mainstream through South Park, and there's even a Netflix documentary using it, and it still lives on through Skippity Toilet. The Tenkaichi community found out they could do the same thing by disabling the HUD in the replay mode, and then make their stories through there. Although Budokai didn't have the same feature, modders were able to disable the HUD and also swap the models. By doing this, they can edit and cut precise moments to create an uncanny animation flow. My favorite Budokai machinimas were created by Kidma Jr. and Viku786. I think a lot of them were deleted due to them having copyrighted music. In fact, I asked Viku about this, and he wasn't aware that they were removed, so he might be re-uploading them. Then things got better when Ultimate Tenkaichi, the rock paper scissors simulator, was introduced, and this is how I got into the scene. If you've seen my early videos, I made Dragon Ball machinimas using that game. Even though Ultimate Tenkaichi isn't great, that game had so many animations that anyone could splice in to create seamless transitions. In fact, the voice actor for Shallot, Alejandro Sub, also partook in this style of work with his Defender of Mankind fan series, which by the way, my poor Photoshop work appears in the credits for like a second, so in a way I feel like I cemented myself in Dragon Ball history. And just like that, a new group of people were involved in the fanfiction scene. Things only got better with Xenoverse's custom characters, which now brings us to Sparking Zero with its custom battle feature. I wish it had a different name, to be honest. So fans that can't be asked to draw, animate, edit, or rather touch grass than go on Wattpad can create an episodic story for friends, family, strangers to play with. By utilizing the 180 character roster, choosing whichever backgrounds that you want to set the characters in, and choosing any of the preset animations as well as emotions without the need of mods. It's actually groundbreaking for the fandom. Although I think Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission kinda had that but I also don't think many people bought it. It's also reminiscent of the WWE game's custom story modes. I say almost because one of the biggest concerns, I haven't seen anyone else mention this, players can't write the dialogue themselves. They're only presented with a lot of choices. I'd imagine it's due to getting around censorship, because the last thing you want is someone to create an insensitive storyline involving Frieza. Oh wait, that already happened. If Sparking Zero gets a sequel and there's no custom battle, just know it's the community's fault. But now people are getting creative with Goku cheating on his wife at Caulifla. I'm just glad that Vados isn't in the game. Regardless, the Dragon Ball community has a huge passion for the universe. There's so much untapped story within the franchise that I honestly think it could be bigger than something like Star Wars. But we'll never know because Toei, Shueisha, and all of these companies are just strict with keeping it grounded for whatever reason. I find it baffling whenever I hear someone say the phrase Dragon Ball is being milked to death. Bro, that cow is touched like once every 3 years. Right now, Sparking Zero's custom battles are like the vegan milk that we have to kind of make use of. I know that analogy is strange, but just be grateful for that calcium that Daima is providing at the moment. It's not like we're getting a spin-off like that Yamcha's reincarnation manga anytime soon. Nevertheless, I do hope Bandai continues to update this game mode because it is a lot of fun, and I do hope DIMS considers putting this game mode into Xenoverse 2 because it would do numbers for that game. I mean, the proof is already there with the custom parallel quests that the community is making through mods. Plus, considering the direction that they're currently going with the DLCs, especially with the latest Future Saga chapter, I think they really need it. Just say that Fu's ulterior motive is to give everyone in Conton City the ability to create their own history, and that's how you introduce the game mode. So till then, let's continue to create unique stories that our creative minds can think of. Hey. Yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here? I mean, are we the product of some cosmic coincidence? Or is there a really Supreme Kai watching everything? You know, with a plan for us and stuff. I don't know, man, but it keeps me up at night. What? I mean, why are we out here next to that guy who I think is cheating on his wife? Yeah.
Thanks. I want to keep fighting forever!
Don't quit on me now!
What's with all that Supreme Kai stuff? It's nothing. It's a reference to a show, I guess.